Do you ever think about your potential and how much you could truly accomplish in life? Do you ever think about what kind of habits you have or what kind of person you are? Now, do you think that your current habits would honestly align with your ideal self? Do you think that you can accomplish those goals with the way that you're currently living your life? Do they truly reflect the type of person you want to become? Hi, my name is Hallie and I'm an incoming senior in college, and I'm on a mission to make sure that my habits align with my future goals and my ideal self. This includes my career, my self-development journey, and also my overall lifestyle and the type of life I'm living, my daily habits, things like that. And today we're going to explore how tiny little changes in your life can become these big transformations and can really allow you to change and transform into a new person. In fact, into your ideal self. And I am currently working on this myself, so I thought I would share how my journey has been, and I've seen immense changes, and I have seen it in my friends and my family who have also recommended what I've been doing too, so I thought I would share it with the rest of the world. Now, I did not wake up one day and decide, okay, I'm gonna change my life. I did actually, I did. I literally woke up and I was like, I looked around, I looked at my life, I evaluated myself, and I was just like, this simply will not do. This is not who Hallie will become. This is not how I will go down in life. I know I have better potential than this. I know I could do better than this. And as I was looking around, I just started to reflect on myself. And for one, I realized I've never consistently went to the gym in my entire life. I'll go here and there, but I would never do it fully. And I would never be committed enough to consistently do it. Two, I don't eat healthy. I don't make an effort to care about my health. My gut, my microbiome is probably absolutely terrible. I wake up and I will take a donut. I am just not taking care of myself the way that I should. Of course, as a result, I was constantly tired. All I wanted to do was sleep. Mornings were a complete drag. I would wake up and just honestly be so exhausted. I would force myself to go to class. One thing about it, I never missed class, but I would literally force myself to go to class. I'd be exhausted in class. I would have to reteach myself because I would zone out in the middle of class, and it just wasn't a sustainable lifestyle. And in the winter it was even worse. I was just even more exhausted, and winter blues hit, and it wasn't a time. And this was during that time that I just was really at my bottom, and I was just like, this can't continue on like this. I can't keep doing this every single year. I refuse to keep doing this every single year. So, I call that my realization. Next, I went to my visualization. So during that moment, I said, this isn't gonna happen. This will no longer continue, and I will make a change. This will not be what becomes of me. I have people depending on me, and I want to be able to depend on myself as well. I have so many goals that I want to reach, and I know I will not reach them if I continue on this way. After that realization stage, I went on and I grabbed a pen and I grabbed paper, and I started writing out a lot of things. But one of the things I started writing out was a strategy. I love to strategize. I think life is full of strategies. There's so many things that you can strategize, and one of those things is obviously your lifestyle and transforming your habits. And I'm also a marketing major, but also, so what I did was, on the left-hand column, I wrote what I currently do not like about my life, about myself, and I took and wrote all the negatives. It's so easy to be negative, you know what I mean? So I was like, I'll take advantage of the fact that it's so easy to be negative, and it's so easy to point out the ugly things, you know? So I started to write down all the things that I did not like. On the right side, I started writing out everything I wanted to be. My ideal self. So I asked myself those questions. What's her morning routine like? What does she eat? Where does she work? What kind of job does she go into? What does she wear? What's her style? How does she treat others? Is she a kind person? Those types of questions. And I kept going on and on and on, and it helped me visualize her. So that was the visualization. So we had realization, and now we're on to visualization, and I can fully see this girl. I can fully see my ideal self, and I felt so motivated, and I was like, God, I'm so down to get this. Like, I'm going to become her. But motivation only does so much. Motivation only gets you so far, and it only does so much. And it's such a temporary thing that is not dependable. And I knew that. And I knew that motivation alone is not going to get me there. I've relied on motivation one too many times, and it got me absolutely nowhere. So I started to research. In my research, the first thing that I actually read about was something called the butterfly effect. And this really set an effect for the rest of my life, and even till this day. A simple way of explaining what the butterfly effect is, especially on a personal development level, it literally just means small habits that lead to big changes. So incorporating little habits into your life and seeing how much of a change that they create in your life. I like to learn with examples, and I feel like it just helps people understand something a little more complex. So I want to share with you an example that allowed me to understand what the butterfly effect really was and how I could implement it in my life to reach my goals. An example is a short daily walk. Very simple. It's just a walk. But the underlying effects of it is it boosts your energy, so you have more time to do things. It is good for your health, and you're in better shape. So that small habit led to big changes. Another example is something that I am currently working on, which is practicing mindfulness. By practicing mindfulness every day, not only does it help with my stress levels, but it helps me regulate my emotions, and it allows me to focus. When your emotions are all over the place, you're barely able to focus on what is currently in front of you. And by me just practicing mindfulness, not only am I working on just being a mindful individual, I'm also working on all those other things underneath that one goal that I set. So the butterfly effect is amazing because you think you're just working on one thing, but really it's leading to many more results than the one thing that you are currently working on. The one thing that I do want to stress in order for this to work is consistency. You must be consistent in your goal and continue to do it every day for the butterfly effect to take effect. Because if you're not consistently going on that walk every day, you're also not consistently going to reap those results. So this butterfly effect just underscores the importance of small changes and how they can lead to bigger changes in your life. By understanding and leveraging this concept, you can implement minor changes to really see big results. And it's good for you because you need to start off small when you're habit building, but also you're not going to feel overwhelmed. So when you are starting to transform your life, I would highly recommend starting off with the butterfly effect. So I implemented the butterfly effect, and that was starting to work for me, and I was honestly feeling much better about myself. There were a couple times where I had to start over, and I need to honestly say this, it's okay to start over. What is not okay is allowing yourself to just let it go. Do not let that goal go until you accomplish it. I know it's exhausting to continue starting over, but think about it. You're in your 20s. What a privilege is it to be in your 20s and to try and pick up a habit? Think about it this way. You're in your 20s right now. Would you rather pick up this habit now or pick it up in the future when it's 10 times harder? I think the best time to build habits is when you are in your 20s, because when you are past your 20s, it is so much harder for you to get rid of these habits. Humans love habit. They love routine. Just our brain in general loves it. And so the longer you're used to doing that habit, or the more consistent you are with it, the harder it is for you to cut it off. I'm saying this because I consistently told myself, oh, I have time, when in reality, time was working against me. And the more I continued to do whatever habit that I was struggling with, the harder it would be in the end for me to really bounce back and stop doing that. And the opposite as well. If you're not cutting off a habit, but you want to start a habit, it's easier for you to start now. The best time for you to start is right now. There's no better time. And remember, this is the beginning of the best you. So the sooner you start, the better you will have. The longer period of time you have to build up a habit, the better. So start now. Don't wait. Don't procrastinate. That is if that's one of the habits you're trying to cut off, this is the perfect opportunity for you to start. Now, as great as the butterfly effect is, I really had to consider a few other things before I fully jumped on and was like, okay, I'm going to do these things. There's 5 things that I would consider before I would start really truly habit building and incorporating the butterfly effect. These things are honestly non-negotiables for me, and for you, you can decide that on your own, but I would highly recommend considering these things. Next, I want to talk about habit tracking. I would recommend some type of habit tracking tool, like a journal. Like you can literally journal every day and talk about what you did and how you would rate that habit. If this week I'm working on mindfulness and I'm working on the gym and eating breakfast every day, I am going to write those 3 things down and I'm going to rate them out of 10. And let's say mindfulness is 5 out of 10. I'm going to then reflect on why it's 5 out of 10 and what I can do and how I can hold myself accountable for it to get up into for it to get up into the numbers. Now, rarely do I have 10 out of 10 because nobody is perfect. Like nobody's doing something perfectly. But if I maybe was mindful but just stopped midway, that's not too great, and I would then try and work on that. There's also like digital tools that you can use to keep track of your habits, or you don't even have to journal it out and like physically write it out. You can literally just write it in your notes and discuss it that way as well. So it's whatever works best for you. The next thing I want to talk about is your environment and companionship, and holding yourself accountable and having a companion to hold you accountable. Now, the best way, honestly, for you to have a habit that you really want to stick to is to have a companion, especially when it's a really big habit like working out or eating healthy. It's better to do it with another individual. When I was really struggling with my gym journey, what I did was I hit up my friend who was extremely consistent with the gym, and I started going with her. Not only did I have a daily dose of motivation because of her, because she was so committed to the gym that I would literally be like, oh, I'm definitely going because she's gonna drag me out for one. So I would be like, I'm definitely going because she's just such an inspiration to me when it came to the gym. But also because she would literally be like, are you coming? And if I came up with any excuse, she'd be like, absolutely not, come. This is why it's nice to have companionship and habit building and somebody who's striving for the same goal or already is good at that habit, because you are able to not only hold yourself accountable, but you're also able to have somebody that can uplift you in those times when you are giving yourself excuses or you really just don't feel like going. And then of course, the environment is so important. You need to think about the habit that you want to work towards and think about your current environment and how it aligns with that as well. For example, if somebody wants to stop drinking coffee, but their roommate drinks coffee every morning and they wake up and get out of their room and all they smell is air full of coffee, it's going to be more difficult for them to stop. Or if they even work at a coffee shop, it's going to be more difficult for them to stop. So you have to consider your environment and how you can adjust it in order for you to really cut that habit off or start a new habit. Let's say you want to eat cleaner food. Your pantry is full of food that's terrible for you. That's counterproductive. You're going to be tempted, and that temptation is going to lead to you eating that food, and then you're going to feel bad about yourself, and then it's just going to go nowhere. You're going to constantly be starting over. So consider your environment as well as you implement this new habit. Next is to celebrate small wins. No matter how small, you want to celebrate your progress and just congratulate yourself for doing what is aligned with your ideal self. For example, when I completed the first week of building new habits, I just went out to dinner and just enjoyed going out to dinner. And I felt really great about myself because I was like, I deserve this. I did amazing. And it motivated me to continue on. And that was honestly super, super helpful because you deserve to be celebrated and you deserve to celebrate your wins. The only thing that I would say is to not celebrate by going back to an old habit. So if you're cutting out sweets, don't celebrate by eating a cookie. So try not to celebrate, especially early on. Like maybe later on it's fine, but early on, that first week, you don't want to cut off sweets for 5 days and then eat it on the 6th day as a celebration. Lastly, I would consistently visualize your success. If you constantly visualize yourself succeeding, and it's going to help you feel so much more motivated, and you're really going to want to be more disciplined towards working your goals. So one of the ways I visualize personally is by just writing out who my ideal self is and going back to it and reflecting on it. But also vision boards. I create vision boards every single month. Literally the first of the month I create a vision board, and I've been doing this for so long, but I've really started to take it more seriously as of like the past couple months. But creating vision boards and having pictures and quotes in your vision boards is amazing. This is my May vision board. Every time I look at it, like every time that end of the month comes and I look back at my vision board, I'm like, check, 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 check. And creating my first YouTube video was actually a part of my vision board. Well, my written vision board anyway. It wasn't fitting the aesthetic, so I didn't put it on there, but it was a part of it. And here I am doing my video. Of course, it's May 27th, but it's still May though. And I'm just proud of myself for that. So you have to celebrate your wins and visualize always, because it all started with a vision. And so to go back from the beginning, instead of having a realization, have reflection, and always continue to have a visualization and visualize yourself, your ideal self, in the different spaces that you're in, and do it in a timely manner. Do it the first of the month, do it weekly if you wish. And honestly, what I do is if I'm going on a trip, or if I'm, for example, I'm starting my internship tomorrow on Tuesday, if I'm going to start that internship, I'm going to visualize it. I have a vision board for myself as an intern, my ideal self as an intern. So visualize it, always visualize it, because it's just going to stick to your brain way more. It's better for you to see something than just to constantly hear it. So visualize it. Once I considered those 5 things, I was really able to go back and start my butterfly effect goals, and that was so much more helpful, because the first time I did it, I did not consider these 5 things. I just jumped in. And I didn't plan anything out. I didn't even know what goals I was honestly going to work on. I was just like, okay, I'm gonna work on these 2 goals and go in butterfly effect. It didn't last because I didn't plan, I didn't visualize, I didn't think about my environment, I didn't think about the people that I was surrounding myself with. And these are all really important factors into you habit building and into really creating a change in your life. So really think about those things before you start to just create changes. And that is the beginning of the best you. That is how you will transform your life, and that is just the beginning of the best you, literally. So that is how I started and how you can start as well. I hope that was helpful for you, and I hope that you learned something new, and I would love to hear some of the habits that you're going to work on. So definitely share those with me, and I can share some of the things that I'm going to work on as well this upcoming month. It's almost June, which is crazy. I would love to hear more about your journeys, and I would absolutely love to see your progress as well. So please message me with those. I would love to literally just listen and see how you're doing and hold each other accountable. And I'm really excited for this new journey and this new era of ours. Okay, bye. Thank you for tuning into my first YouTube video. Bye. We're changing our lives. This is kind of crazy and cool and radical. This is my first YouTube video. I'm really excited. I'm really happy to be here, and I'm really excited to share my opinions, because I have a lot of them. So